Success is a combination of many ingredients. Jim and Nancy Dornan found those ingredients within each other. It all began as young Purdue graduates starting a life together.
I worked in an advanced design group, actually on the DC-10 in the early days when that was being developed. And so, I was kind of excited about starting, but in a big aerospace company with 40,000 employees, it's kind of hard to feel significant. So I think I became frustrated pretty early in the game. And Nancy, we found out, was expecting Heather, our first child. And so after only 3 months on the job, Nancy retired early.
Heather was born in February, and I told Jim, I said, oh no, this will never work. I'm not going back, and I'll find something else. And my thought was, I'll find something for Jim.
We needed some more money. We're living in California, it's expensive. And we wanted more options. We wanted more control of our destiny. We saw people with a lot of education, particularly in my field, that were being sent out in the street at 40, 50 years old. And it was ironic because just when we became aware that we might want something more, this phone call comes from this girl that we didn't know very well and said that they had started a business. And of course, Nancy, typical of Nancy, she says, sure, can you come over tonight? We certainly weren't looking to start a business. We had no background in business. We were intrigued by the marketing plan, the concept of starting your own business, making money, being able to maybe replace, one of our incomes or both of our incomes someday.
The only problem is we'd only lived in California a year, and they said, make a list of friends and relatives and whatever, and I said, yes, and what do you do after that?
A really important thing happened to us very, very early. We got taken to a big function. Our lives were changed. I mean, we were so overwhelmed by what we saw at that meeting. We came home from there and said, where's this been all our life? Remember, we had heard Rich DeVos speak. We had heard Jay Van Andel speak.
Done. These are the kind of people I want to do life with. And I thought, therefore, we have to learn to get better. We have to succeed.
We discovered a philosophy, a value system. It was about opportunity. It was about free enterprise. It was about owning your life and owning your own business. We'd replaced our incomes. We were free. We had a little girl, 2 or 3 years old. Seemed like we had enough.
I mean, I remember, people coming over the house. I was the coat taker. I was the donut server, greeting people, falling asleep to applause.
It was then that Nancy found out we were going to have child number 2. And of course you assume, oh great, child number 2.
Eric was born, and we thought, okay, I had enough money to go and stay in the hospital, 2 or 3 days, which they did then, and then go home. And things didn't quite turn out that way. When Eric was born, he was born with an open spine, completely shock. And we didn't come home in 3 days, we came home in 9 months. That was a turning point, and we realized failure is no longer an option. But at that point, I said to Jim, it doesn't matter whether we are good enough, it doesn't matter whether we can, I only know we will.
My mom always says life's a package, and boy, that is true.
We knew we had to take charge. We had to do something more significant.
Rich DeVos was playing in my ear. Solve it yourself.
And we didn't want to be victims, and we didn't want to be the guys that had the best excuse to quit, because there's no meetings to tell people why I had a good reason to quit. And it wasn't too long after that Amway began to expand internationally. I made the decision, Nancy made the decision and I went along with it, that we would go ahead and see what we could do in the international arena. And really after just a couple of experiences, I became, I don't know what the word is, almost intoxicated with the thrill of seeing this business embraced by different cultures. We literally went from nothing to a business where we have presence, offices, and established support and Amway businesses in 25 or more different countries. Somebody added up recently there were maybe as many as 30 to 50,000 people would join our business globally in a single month. And we just literally had a ball.
I remember going to Greece and to Rome and to Hungary and to Poland and a bunch of other places with Dad, and the Czech Republic as they did these market openings, and I'd watch him sort of in action, and then we'd take little side trips places and just spend some one-on-one time together.
There's some great ironies in this business. If you remember, as an aerospace engineer, when I was in my early stage of my career, the 2 countries that had like rockets pointed at us were the Soviet Union and China, right? And in the last few months, where have I been? Hugging, loving, and sharing the business with people is Russia and China.
I want to make a difference. At some point when I go to be with the Lord, I want to know I used it all up. I always set aside money to give to things that I wanted to give to. We could buy a wheelchair for somebody, and sometimes that was when it was less than comfortable. But having lived that life and wanting to provide for a child, that was key to me.
It's not just about accumulating things. It's not just about us. It's about how we can use the blessings that we've been given.
Jim and Nancy's original vision for Network of Caring was something that sort of evolved over time. And before we knew it, thousands of IBOs caught that vision and began to support World Vision. And the result has been now $30 million has gone to World Vision, and 60,000 children have been rescued from poverty.
My mom and dad are very special. They've helped us, well, with this foundation. If it wasn't for that, there would be no Power Soccer.
No matter how many people we bring in and how big it gets, it doesn't seem to ever run out of steam. And I love that part because we've been building for more years than I care to admit here in North America, and it's the same as it was when we started. It's just as easy to bring new people in. They respond to the same things they responded to when we were showing it to them, back in the 70s. I believe that 25 years from now, the opportunity will be better in North America than it is today.
And so we, as a matter of fact, both went platinum before we were married in our own separate businesses.
I've built the business, and I just can't be thankful enough for the option that provides to a single mom.
So I never feel like I want to force our kids to do the business, but I do know if they're around the environment and around the people, this thing is irresistible.
Without Jim, we couldn't have built this business. Without me, we wouldn't have.
Who knew that a business that markets household products that we joined for $25 was going to put us in that kind of an environment, and a world, and a life? It's beyond belief that we could be living this life and doing what we do and impacting people as we're allowed to do with the team of people we're allowed to work with. It's just Amway.